Hello everybody, welcome to your fourth PHP tutorial. And in this video I will be telling you how to set up a local server to run your PHP code on. So as you can see right now, this is my website. I just, have to advertise as I go, and also I just didn't know what else to have up here. So basically, this is all generated with PHP code, and it gives me HTML. So I can inspect these elements, and you can see it's all HTML. So this is a mix of PHP and HTML, and we can do this by running a local server using Xampp. So what we want to download is Xampp. You can download it by searching it on Google or going to apachefriends.org. Once you open it, you'll get to this page. You want to scroll down and figure out what operating system you're on. I am on Windows. Click that if that's what you're using. Now you'll want to scroll down until you see download Xampp, and you'll want to click Xampp. It's a link, and it'll bring you here. Scroll down a bit and click the installer. Just give it a minute. It'll bring up sourceforge.net and a downloader will pop up down here. Now this is the same exact file that I have over here, so I'm not going to let it finish. But basically, once it's done, you will want to click it, and it will open just like this. A window will pop up asking you if you want to allow it to make changes to your computer. Click yes. You're not going to be able to see that on video, but I can see it, so that's all that matters. Alright, and then down at your start bar it might pop up and it'll say important, blah 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 blah. Just click OK, it should still work. And if that doesn't come up, then don't worry about it. Next, you can choose what to install. I'm going to install all of it. Next. Now the location, as you can see, mine says G:\Xampp. Yours is probably C:\Xampp. The reason for this is I'm actually running two partitions. So I am on my second partition, that's why it's not C, but actually G. So whatever yours comes up as, that is probably the one you will want to use, unless you know you need to install it otherwhere in a different location. So I'm going to install it on G:\Xampp. Next, and no, I do not want to learn about Bitnami for Xampp. Next, setup is now ready to begin installing Xampp on your computer. Next, by the way, be sure to read the terms of service. It's good stuff. So we just want to wait for this to install. Shouldn't take too long. And I guess I will pause the camera and start back up when it's done. So as you are installing it, this box may pop up down here, which you can look at that. That is just a blank black box. So just ignore it and wait for the installation to finalize. Okay, so now you can see that it is finished, and it asks if we want to start the control panel now. I'm going to check that and click finish, and this should come up. Alright, now as you can see I have some red errors here, and it says port 443 in use by unable to open process. So I'm pretty sure that's this box here. So if we start Apache and start MySQL, Apache's kind of broken, so I'm going to X out of this black box here. You probably won't get this error, but if you do, here's how to fix it. And then we can start it, and you can see it's running fine. So when they're shaded green, that means everything is good. So those are the two that we want to activate, Apache and MySQL. Now, to access this server, we can travel to localhost on our URL or our search our URL bar, I don't even know what it's called, web address bar, and then we want to select our language. I speak English, so I'm going to select English. And it will bring us to localhost/xampp/index.php. So, if you ever need to get back to this specific page and localhost is not working, just like that, you may want to type in /xampp and it'll bring you to this page. So this is the home page for our web server. We can also access it by typing in 127.0.0.1 and then enter, and it will bring you to the same page. So this is just another way to get to this page. This is the IP address that brings us back to our local server. Okay, so now what exactly do we want to do? Well, using the server, we can access PHP files, and we want something to write PHP files. So we could use a good text editor known as Notepad++. So to download this, we can go to notepad-++.org, or we can just Google search it, or whatever search it, Notepad++. It'll bring us to the Notepad++ homepage. Then on the left corner, there's a download, currently on version 6.4.3, so it may be different for you. Download. And then we want the Notepad++ installer. Click that, and just like the Xampp, I already have one over here. So once this is done, you just click it, but I'm going to cancel it. And I'm going to open this one. User account control pops up again, click yes. Language, English, click next. Agree to all this stuff. It's really good stuff. If you're looking for a good book, be sure to read this. I agree. Now the location, same concept. Mine is on G, yours is probably on C, but that's okay. Just whatever you need, if you don't know where to install it, just keep what it gives you at first. And if you know you need to install it somewhere else, you can change it. But yours is probably C. Next, and you can choose what to install. I'm going to install all of it. Next, and I'm also going to create a shortcut on the desktop. Install. Then we can check Run Notepad++, Finish. And down here on our bar, we have Notepad++. So this is the change.log. This has some information, but I think it's boring, so I'm not going to read it. What we're going to do is File, New, or Control-N. Now with here, we can save it, and save it as index.php. I already have this file because, I already worked through this once, and I forgot to delete it, but name it index.php. So we can, the PHP is known as the file extension. We can select the file extension by clicking this type box. There's a ton of them. Or we could just put it at the end of the file name. So I'm going to choose to put it at the end of the file name and click Save. Yes, replace it. Okay, so now we have an index.php. If we go back to our web browser, so we have the file, go back to our web browser, localhost. It still brings us to Xampp, but if we /index.php, we can see still it does not work, and I'm going to explain why right now. See, where is this saved? It is saved in Program Files, Notepad++, /index.php. This is the wrong location to save the file. We need to save this computer and open up the Xampp folder. You might have to go to C. I'm going on to G. Xampp, and then there's an htdocs folder. If it's not there, you probably did something wrong. Try creating it. htdocs. Double click that, and it brings us to all of our web servers files. Now within the htdocs folder, we want to name this index.php. And yes, we want to replace it. So now, if we go to localhost, it brings us to our PHP page. And as you can see, there's nothing on it. It's pretty blank. That's because we have not done any prior PHP programming on our script. So what have we learned so far? Well, in order to access PHP, we need a web server. So, to illustrate this, I'm going to type some PHP code. You probably don't know how to do this yet, but that's okay. I'm just giving an example. Hey. And you can see it echoes out hey to the web browser for people to see. So if you went to this web page, this is what it would look like. This is an exact representation on our local server. Now, if we were to run this specific file, like, let me find it. Okay, if we open the computer, and then we open the Xampp folder, and then we go to htdocs, here's index.php. Well, I could open this with Google Chrome. That's what most people think, but it doesn't quite work that way. So opening it obviously is not going to work. We can select a program from a list of installed programs, and we can say, let's browse, and let's look for program files 86, Google Chrome application, Chrome. So now I'm going to open this file with Chrome, and you can see it just displays my PHP code. That's because we're not running it through a server on our local machine. So this goes back to the concept, everything has to be run through a server. So this is just opening it on the client side, but when we access it through the local host, it's on the server side. So when we open it on the client side, we can see all the PHP code. That's because it's on our machine. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do that. So I can't open certain web pages on my client side. It's impossible. You can only access it through server. But if you get this problem, then the chances are you are opening the file this way by opening it through here rather than using localhost. So that's one big problem you will come across, and we'll talk about some more you may run into. So that's really all I have to say in this video. Good job for following along. If you have any questions, be sure to leave me a comment, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you, and subscribe.